What's going on, Soul Tribe? And welcome to my channel, Alchemist. Justin here, and I hope you're ready to get pumped for the week, get things in order. I feel this is going to be a great one to really kind of analyze things and just give yourself a progress report. Where am I at in life? Where do I want to move this thing? Because I really like how the energies are setting things up for us. Now, before I jump into that, if you're new to this channel, welcome again. My name is Justin. I salute the divinity in you. And one of the things that I do on this channel is that I talk about the weekly transits that are going on in the sky, the cosmic chit chat that the planets are always talking about. And I like to work with it as not what's happening to us, but what's getting ready to happen for us. What intentions are we setting with this energy? We happen to the astrology. And I like to work with the traditional planets mainly, but I do keep the outer planets in mind, so that's just something to keep in mind of as well. But I'm going to be covering this week from September 5th through the 11th, and let's switch back over here. Let's talk about this first transit. Because depending on when you're watching this, on Saturn Day, the 7th of September, which I like this since we're going to be talking about Saturn here and the sun are in opposition with one another. They're both at 16 degrees and 1 minute. The sun is in Virgo and Saturn is retrograde in Pisces. And this is happening at 9:35 p.m. and that's going to be Pacific time. Now, when we have an opposition here, as you can see, it's when the planets are 180 degrees apart from one another. They're exactly opposite. And oppositions are Saturnian in nature, so there's this restriction that's going on here. Now, when we're thinking about the sun, excuse me, the sun is our life, our light, our inspiration, that higher mind where you're getting the downloads that are coming from. And so with the sun being in Virgo, this could be shining a light on what are some areas that are needing to be brought into order. What are some things where we've kind of gotten maybe a bit, we're noticing, like let's say, for example, you've been just running on just a few hours of sleep. And now with Saturn coming in opposition, now we're seeing that it's not as realistic, not as sustainable as it used to be. And I find whenever we get to this opposition with the sun and Saturn, because sure, Saturn being the planet, the greater malefic, Saturn being the planet of restrictions and teaches us to endure. Because Saturn is one, I like to think when we're working with Saturn as you're working with land. When you take care of your land and you're following your responsibilities and getting the help that you need if you need it, then you will have a bountiful harvest. But if not, then we're going to have a very creative winter and figure out what we're going to be doing. So Saturn is not meant to be this harsh things, but it's the responsibilities in life. And with retrogrades, you would think like, oh, that's great. He's not bringing down the restrictions, but that is not always a great thing, because now during I feel the retrograde time, you may not be as maybe feeling as disciplined. So this is, I feel like, a time to really kind of, okay, where have things gotten out of order? Maybe I've been trying to get on this diet, but it's been kind of, or not maybe necessarily diet, but I've been trying to maybe clean up my eating possibly, maybe working out less if you've been doing a lot of fast food or maybe a lot of greasy stuff, maybe cooking your own meals, but maybe you've kind of gotten out of the practice of that and you're just noticing that like, oh, I've been feeling really sluggish and this is just like the things aren't moving in the body. This could be where maybe you wanted to start a business and you went to invest in a space and then things were, you have bills, of course, that you got to cover. Then you got this, you got that. You're trying to figure out how all these things are coming to the mix, how you're going to balance all of this stuff. So this can be a time where I think it's very pivotal what happens at the latter half of this kind of closing cycle between the sun and Saturn. Wherever, look at where this opposition is happening in your chart. Because when Saturn moves through each of the signs, he's moving through with care. He's combing over very thoroughly. And so utilize that to your, I feel like this gives us a time to, with Saturn transits, we don't have to rush through these things take time, but we do have to take actionable steps towards it, especially if you're noticing that, oh, I went to plant something, or I wanted to start up this thing, but I'm not yielding any fruit. Do I want to keep riding this out in hopes that things are going to change, or do I need to pivot in some sort of way? So that's just something to consider. And then with the sun in Virgo, it gives you like, okay, I get this answer, I see what I need to do, so then I can get this done. Because what I like with this energy, because on Sunday, the 8th of September, Mercury is going to be moving back into its domicile and exaltation of Virgo. And I didn't put a time on that, so it's just happening on the 8th. Look at you, Justin, prepared. It's fine. But with Mercury entering back into its home sign, this is where your communication, how you're thinking, your wisdom, how you learn, this is at its strongest. With Mercury here is at its strongest. So you can take what you've learned from this opposition with Saturn and the Sun, and it's like, okay, I have this problem. What are some practices or rituals or some things that I need to do in order to fix this? Who do I need to talk with? Who do I need to you can get all the things. If you don't have things, and it's like thinking about other people too, because I feel like Saturn is one that reminds us too that we can't do everything by ourselves. Even if we got this big plot of land, after a while you need some helpers. You need some people who can lend a hand. Especially when you start getting prosperous, you're wanting someone who maybe is good with people, who can manage the sales. You want someone who can do all of these things. So this Mercury in Virgo can be really constructive, really efficient, and in a great time to just set yourself up for success. And I feel you'll feel how pleased Saturn will be with that. Once Saturn starts going direct and you have a lot more to work with, as opposed to because I can see where sometimes with Saturn oppositions that it can bring this sense of hopelessness, because you're thinking like, oh my gosh, I have to do all of the things. The weight of the world really can get on your shoulders with Saturn. But I feel Saturn is there to offer another perspective where, it might be kind of grinding what you have to do. Maybe if you wanted to change jobs, you have to learn a certain skill, or you have to do some extra things, or maybe make a move or something. But we're thinking about long term with Saturn. Saturn's not about the immediate gratification. Saturn likes to he appreciates the little wins, of course, along the way, but Saturn's really thinking about the end goals here. Is what I'm getting. So, if you're feeling stuck and feeling in a rut, this could be a blessing in disguise. This again could just give you time to just regroup and figure out where to go from here. You're like, maybe I've been pushing at something really hard, and maybe I need to back off. Maybe I need to focus my mind elsewhere, and then in doing something else, I'll find inspiration for this initial problem that I may be having. So that's what I feel this Mercury in Virgo can provide for us. Now, the last thing that I want to talk about, Mercury's playing a big part here, and let me switch over to the next chart here, is that I want to talk about Mars and Mercury that are going to be forming. Let's do this one in green. But Mars and Mercury are going to be forming a sextile with one another. Here's Mercury here. That's going to be happening on, like I said, Mercury Day. That's going to be on the 11th of September. And they'll both be at 4 degrees and 21 minutes. Mars is in Cancer, and Mercury is in, like I said, in Virgo. But the interesting thing I find with this is that Mars is in his fall in Cancer. So his energy is not working as strongly. He's having to pay attention to, do I really feel like starting this up? Is the energy there for that? And with the sextile energy, this is where, as you see here, the planets are 60 degrees apart from one another. So they're in like genders. So they're in more feminine energies, and that's just more, not necessarily just like female. It's more so that they're in more receptive energies, being in Virgo and being in Cancer. And the sextile energy is this excitement that's building up. There's this Venusian in nature. And you're thinking about the things that you're wanting to attract. And so, okay, you got that insight from that opposition here with that Sun and Saturn. And now you've gotten some clarity on this thing. You see the energies are starting to clear. The Sun's starting to clear space, and Saturn's backing up away from the Sun too. But this can be where, all right, I may have felt some type of way, felt really frustrated at first when I was looking at this thing, but now, you know what, I've had a couple days to kind of sleep on this thing and like, oh, I'm feeling inspired. And it may come up for you like that. It might just be like a little thing where it's like, oh, I wonder if, and follow that. See where that leads you. If you're getting those hunches, trust a hunch. That can really lead to a lot of gold. And you can, especially when the energy's hot and ripe like that. I find my son's in Cancer, and I find when I'm really feeling something, man, it's like I need to do it at that point, because otherwise it's not the same. The passion, if the passion is not there, you can't really force it. It's just sort of like we just gotta do something else until you really feel like a similar kind of drive for that. So take advantage of this. The sextiles are a bit subtle, but it's something where if you get into speaking something into completion, I feel the body will respond to that instinctively. And it'll just kind of know what to do. You'll be thinking about your something, or be kind of daydreaming, and then you'll be pulling up a site for whatever your problem may be. It's kind of, we're speaking very, very generally here. Let's switch back over. But if you want to not speak so generally on this, if you can, I've links down in the description box below to either book a free consultation with me to talk about the services that I provide. Either especially if you got your Sun in Virgo, we could talk about if you got a solar return that's coming up, or if you're wanting to. I also have a group that for setting intentions with the moon is called the Lunar Mansion, and we meet up. It's a thing that you sign up for. You can purchase different groups that you want to join in the cycle. And we work with certain areas of your chart over a 27-month cycle. And we meet up 4 times in that time and really kind of work and nourish that area of your chart and do some, because man, when you do some real mindful manifestation, it's one thing to do it by yourself and watch things grow, but once you're doing it in a group, it's a whole other vibe. So if that's something that you're interested in, the link's down there for that. And it's going to be one during the Libra lunar eclipse. So really setting some big intentions with this. There's really some really powerful changes here. We're fertile ground that we're working with Libra. I know I got some plans for that. And if you have questions for that, I also have a link to book a free consultation down in the description box with me. But I think that's all I got for you this week. So yeah, work with these energies, get some things in order. I feel this could be, again, very supportive. At first it might be a little frustrated, but I think that the delay will be a blessing in disguise. You know what I mean? And I think that it's something that you'll see in hindsight once you get something moving. Once that, I feel that Mars sextile energy kind of hits, you're just like, oh my gosh, now I see what I need to do. Okay. And you have this sort of renewed vigor. So keep that. I hope let that give you faith in going into this week here. So until next time, stay mindful out there. Keep raising that vibration to the roof. Seize the day and the night. And I will catch you on the next one. Later.